Back in the day, I used to not have the best temper, so I used to be a little bit crazy. I mean, in a good way. I used to care too much that I lost, so I would get carried away and cry on the court. So it took me a while to get rid of that and calm down, and then also behave better after losses and respect the game, I guess, and respect my opponents. And then, as I was about 20, 21, I started to understand how I needed to behave, and then it was also important for me to, once I became more famous, to become also more of a role model, to be honest. It was important for me that parents would walk up to me and say, like, you know, you've been really good for my son or for my daughter, and I don't know, I took that to heart, and I tried to be a good role model for kids, and I'll try till the very end. It's hard to hide all emotions because you don't want to for 25 years, so obviously you're, you know, in the center for a long time, and that was also a bit of a relief when I retired, you know, that because you always feel like something could happen.
Yeah.
You could lose your mind for a second in the match, but it's just tennis at the end of the day, let's be honest. It's a game, we're in entertainment, so I had to remind myself, don't take it too serious, even though we care so dearly. So at the end, you need to want it from the inside. I mean, your parents, your coaches, your friends can tell you as much as you want it that you have to change. If you don't want to change, you can't do it. So it's got to come from within, and it took a while, but I was able to achieve that, so I'm very proud of that fact. On the inside, I'm a volcano, you know, so on the outside, I look cool, but no, so, I mean, the referees, you know, I came to the conclusion that they can't change calls no more. So once you know they've made a mistake or not, it doesn't matter if you're at fault or they're at fault. You can't change. You can't turn back the clock. So at one point I told myself, well, if I go argue with the umpire, I almost make it a game for myself. I'm actually walking up there telling myself I'm actually not angry. I'm just actually going to have a conversation, and I'm just going to have a chat, basically. I just remind them maybe, or just give myself some time to not get too crazy, you know. And then the umpire and the lines people, that's fine. They can miss calls. That's not a problem. And then remind yourself that a point is just a point, you know. So it's not such a big of a deal. Of course, if it's like a big point, okay, fine. But like I said before, you can't make every shot, so you got to accept that. But what you can put into is the best effort, and so that's been my focus. And not live with regrets, because I feel like when I was younger, I would lose matches and feel like, oh man, if I would have only done this, if I only would have tried harder, if I would have only run faster or fought harder. But later on, I didn't have that anymore. And I think when you come to a place where you know you've given it all you have, you can go back home and life goes on, and I'll go walk straight from a lost match and go straight play with my children, or I played a lost match and straight went into a nice dinner with my friends, and life goes on. Because like I said, it's just tennis, it's just a point, and what's the big deal of getting totally overly stressed about it, you know? So you got to find your peace, your inner peace in my mind, you know, to I guess achieve that, and it took me, you know, hours and hours and years of practice doing that, but I think if you know you work hard on the court and then in matches as well, I mean, no reason to get too upset about